Massachusetts Beer Review is back with you all again. Haven't done a lot of these videos very recently just because of the fact that every time I want to drink a beer, I don't always want to do a review or write a beer advocate review. I don't always want to think about a beer. I sometimes just want to drink a beer. So I am back with this classic beer. I don't do a lot of this beer style. I drink enough of the beer style. I don't review enough of the beer style on this channel. There's been a few lagered beers, pale lagers on my channel, but I don't believe I've done this one yet. It is the king of the beers, question mark. Budweiser. At least that's what they say. Budweiser, brewed by our own original, all-natural process using the choicest hops, rice, and best barley malt. This is the famous Budweiser beer. We know no brand produced by any other brewer which costs so much to brew and age. Our exclusive Beechwood aging produces a taste, a smoothness, and a drinkability you'll find in no other beer at any price. So it's 5%. I just have a can of it. That's all the information on their can. They say it's 12 fluid ounces. Yep, 145 calories, 5%. Those are the pertinents to you. Now, if you go to a website called tapintoyourbeer.com, because Anheuser-Busch is owned by InBev, they give you all of the InBev beer nutritional facts and the ingredients. And they list the ingredients as being water, barley malt, rice, yeast, and hops. And this is considered an American-style lager according to the BJCP, which are the Beer Judging Certification Program Guides. They say it's an American lager, which is very pale, highly carbonated, light-bodied, well-attenuated lager with a very neutral flavor profile and low bitterness. Serve very cold, I should say. This can be very refreshing and thirst-quenching. Should have between 2 and 18 international bitterness units. Well, we'll get to the style guidelines in a minute. I'm going to pour this out into a Goose Island knotted glass since InBev owns Anheuser-Busch. And this is an Anheuser-Busch brand Goose Island. Contrary to popular belief, the Anheuser-Busch brewery tells you to pour this beer, the Budweiser, down the center of the glass because it releases, you know, aromas and it creates the ridiculously foamy head that it's going to die down. Pop, pop, fizz, fizz. You can probably hear that. Very clear, very carbonated, very light straw yellowed, kind of a light golden color. Yeah, head is going down. Again, very carbonated, very charged. Sudsy, soapy head. Let's get a smell of the Budweiser King of Beers. And it is a very neutral scent, but there is subtleties going on. It's definitely that sweet, grainy, grassy note. Like a wet, almost like a wet paper, newspaper, or cardboard kind of a deal. Sweet grains. You do get the adjunct of the rice in there for sure. And it just has a sweet overtone. And I guess there is kind of a clean, watery smell, if you know what I mean. So, let's top it off and have ourselves a taste test of the old standard Budweiser. Cheers, guys. Happy Sunday. so far it is a pretty neutral beer in terms of its flavor profile. The flavor profile pretty much mimics the scent of the beer, where you get the sweet grains or the sweet malty grain sort of a flavor, that wet kind of a cardboard or like a newspaper kind of a thing going on. Sweet overall, an overriding sweetness, a touch, I would say, a touch of like a white bread-iness kind of thing going on. You can definitely tell, and only one way to understand what I'm saying is to have remembered what that taste of Budweiser is, or to go out there and get it now, is the rice flavor. You'd have to try it or remember what this beer tastes like to understand what I mean by that. But it gives the beer that sort of like that crispness, that light crispness, if that makes any sense. It's definitely got a good amount of carbonation. I don't think it's too little. I don't think it's too much. I think it's pretty good for this beer style of just American lager. Beer Advocate would call it a American adjunct lager. The mouthfeel is crisp, clean, super refreshing. No charge. It is highly drinkable. You could totally put down a 12-pack before you get hammered with ease. And it is, again, it's the style. It's very light body oriented, and it finishes extremely dry. But it is not Bud Light dry. That's got to be one of the driest beers on the market out there today. And it does have a little bit of lacing, but you have to swirl your beer to do that, which Budweiser drinkers are not thinking about their Budweiser this way. So, hey, I like this beer. It's not what I would pick up, you know, normally. It's nice for a change of pace from drinking the craft beers. And one of the reasons I did this beer, I'm reviewing this beer for you all today, is you can like craft beers. Now, Beer Police, you know, hit up the sirens, start the sirens, flashing of the lights on top of the your Beer Police cop car. But there's nothing wrong with being a craft beer fan and going to a beer like a Budweiser. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And it's a little strange and weird for me to understand how people can say that a beer like this has zero flavor. It may be a very neutral and a very subdued amount of flavor, but if you're drinking a Budweiser, you're drinking an American lager style beer, a light lager, European pale lager, Czech Pilsner, whatever it be that's similar in fashion to this. It's not designed to be a total flavor explosion. That's not what it's designed for. It's designed for having a lower ABV, being nice and crisp and refreshing, and pretty much being able to go with whatever activity or whatever kind of food that you're eating at the time. You know, football, popcorn, chicken wings, pizza, ribs, burgers, hot dogs. It's pretty much a universal beer style. You can't go wrong bringing a Budweiser to a party, and you're not going to, unless it's the craft beer taste test tour, you're not gonna, or something like that, you're not going to offend people. And me being a IPA and an Imperial Stout lover, I will not be offended drinking this beer any time of the day, any time of the year. So before I make my final assessment, I'm going to go back to the BJCP, where they talk about the American style lager, and see just how far I believe that Budweiser hits the mark according to the judging styles. They talk about let's see here. They talk about, in the aroma, there's low to no malt aroma, although it can be perceived as grainy, sweet, or corn-like if present. Hop aroma may range from none to light, slight, spicy, or floral hop presence. While a clean fermentation character is desirable, light amount of yeast character may be there. Yeah, I would agree with that statement. It's hitting the mark on its aroma profile. At this point, it's pretty thin and watery in its scent, but there's a little bit of grain and sweetness, so sure. Relatively neutral palate with a crisp and dry finish, and moderately low to low grainy or corn-like flavor that can be perceived as sweetness due to its low bitterness. Basically, not a bunch of hop flavors in there. It's medium to low. Everything's pretty balanced. It may be slightly malty to a little bit more bitter. Clean fermentation character, crispness, and a dry finish, high levels of carbonation. Again, it's dead on to that style as far as the beer guide is concerned. So I'm not even going to finish, carbonation, high, slight tongue bite from the carbonation maybe. So I'm going to stop reading it at that point in time. And I'm going to say that, as far as an American lager is concerned, this one hits all the marks for sure. So comparing it to a lot of the other American light lagers, I'd say that this one is right on par with those other ones. PBR's, Miller High Life, to me even Milwaukee's Best. For me personally, my beer rating, I'd give it a straight C+ to a B-. It's pretty, standard beer that can be had at any point in time. I just would prefer like a European Pale or a Czech Pilsner kind of a lager for me personally. Those have a lot more character and flavor to them. But I would definitely give this a C+ to a B-. Yep, that's definitely an 80 out of 100 beer for me. For sure. Give it a 3 out of 5. Why not? And this has been Masters Beer Review looking at the Budweiser beer. This one, since this is Masters Beer Review, brewed at Anheuser-Busch in Merrimack, New Hampshire. Until next time, keep tasting those great beers. We'll see you soon.